Another Aussie doing a little better at the moment is David Besnard. He'll have full news on David in our Interpit segment after tonight's race. And finally, congratulations to Giancarlo Fischer-Keller. His girlfriend Luna gave birth to their first child this week, a daughter named Carlotta. So there we are, and look at the size of this crowd as the cars make their way around to the grid now.
Well, as I said to you, Daz, it might be called the San Marino Grand Prix, but it really is the second Italian Grand Prix, and as such, the atmosphere and the fans are just, they're fabulous. Second only to Monza. Pretty well much the same fans, I would say, not all that far apart, but it's a difficult circuit, and you can really see the cars at work here, particularly that left-right-hand chicane before the start-finish line, which we just saw them then. If they, you know, give it a bit too much welly too soon, you can see them laying rubber coming out of there. It really is a great sight. Reliability tonight, obviously, the two McLarens and also the Stewart. The spotlight's on all three of those cars. Well, I think the McLarens are really making headway. I don't think the Fords are making all that much headway. They're showing a lot of pace, but I'll be surprised if they last. Some good shots there as we see the cars making their way around to the grid now. All right, well, let's take you over now. Live commentary coming in from Murray Walker and his new partner, his new sidekick tonight, Jody Scheckter.
In the Prost with its Peugeot engine. He's 16th on the grid, so there in the background, the safety car, which has got Professor Sid Watkins, the FIA's doctor and surgeon in it. And you watch for the lights. They come on one at a time. When all five go out, there's a programmed pause, and the San Marino Grand Prix is go! Good start by Mika Häkkinen. Princeton dives out from the pack. Villeneuve has stalled. Jacques Villeneuve has stalled from 5th position on the grid. Mika Häkkinen leads. David Coulthard is in 2nd place. Then the two Ferraris. There is a furious Jacques Villeneuve. He's gone down and off. Goes, it looked to me like Olivier Panis. No, it's Trulli. It's Jarno Trulli in the Prost. So his race is over already. And now Schumacher, realising that Mika Häkkinen is pulling away from him, is pushing very hard at David Coulthard. Mika Häkkinen realises that with a clear track in front of him, this is a golden opportunity to build up that vital gap that he needs. It's a long race, 62 laps. Häkkinen, Coulthard, Schumacher, Irvine. Barrichello is in 5th position. Heinz Harald Frentzen has come up to 6th position on the grid. He's moved up because of Jacques Villeneuve's problem, but already Mika Häkkinen is starting to ease away.
Yes, and it looks like Coulthard settled down and starting to pull away as well. He obviously wasn't feeling very comfortable in the first few corners, and Michael was all over him. So, but it looks like it's settling down.
Well, down to the Rivazza for the first time. And you look briefly there at Sandro Zanardi, Alex Zanardi, and Ralph Schumacher. But here is Häkkinen flinging the McLaren round the corners. Irvine, Barrichello, Frentzen, Ralph Schumacher, Damon Hill is in 8th position as he goes through. Unfortunately, they all seem to have completed that first lap, with the exception of Jacques Villeneuve and Jarno Trulli, of course, who went out on the very first lap of 62 here in Italy. Now, temperatures, here's a replay of the start. Let's see what happens. You can see Jacques Villeneuve stalled there, and it was an absolute miracle that nobody hit him.
Yeah, it's so dangerous when somebody stalls on the grid, because you can't really see them when you're one behind. It's too low, and it's very dangerous.
Well, he will be very, very unhappy indeed. Jarno Trulli has been making some critical comments about the Prost team, which I don't think have endeared him to the management. He's got some justification because the car is not what he wanted it to be, but it's a new team and it's Prost as opposed to Ligier format, and it is getting better all the time. But look at this. Now, were the McLaren sandbagging all the time? Because at the end of the first lap, Mika Häkkinen led David Coulthard by 1.7 seconds. He led Michael Schumacher by 2.8. This is Fischer-Keller, replay, and he goes down the right-hand side. Now, now we should see what happened to Jarno Trulli as they turn into the Tamburello, but we didn't. We rejoin at the Traguardo, the end of the lap. Now, the previous lap, Michael Schumacher was a second behind David Coulthard. And just to demonstrate how important a race victory to him is there, Mika Häkkinen has just made the fastest lap of the race so far. That was his second, his first flying lap, of course. 1 minute 30.225 compared with the fastest lap we have ever had here at Imola. Heinz-Harald Frentzen, 125.5 in the Williams, but it was a very different motor car in those days. Well, I have to say, even at this early stage of the race, it looks as though the Ferrari promise was a false one, or that McLaren had got something up their sleeves all the time.
Right, it certainly looks like they had something up their sleeves, because certainly in practice it looked like Ferrari were really catching up, but this is bigger domination than we've seen.
Yeah, 2.2 seconds now. What we never know, of course, at this stage of the race, Jody, is what the strategies are going to be. I mean, it could hypothetically be, that Mika Häkkinen is going to have a three-stop race, and therefore he's going as fast as he possibly can to build up time. I don't believe for one moment that that is the case, but it could be that he's on 2 stops and Michael Schumacher on 1 stop, in which case, with a heavier fuel load, the Ferrari could be going slower. I think I'm grasping at straws for Ferrari lovers, but still.
Yes, I mean, the consensus was it was going to be a 2-stop race for most of the people. Something very... if they wanted to really stretch it and do 3 stops, it could be slightly quicker, but not enough to really take the chance.
Well, as we watch the 2 McLaren drivers grasping this race by the throat, and Mika Häkkinen particularly, I can tell you that Jack Villeneuve did not stall his Supertech V10 engine at the start of the race. He had a gear selection problem, is the message that we've been given, in which case he will not be at all happy. But as now the race in this early stage, with Mika Häkkinen leading, David Coulthard, Michael Schumacher, Eddie Irvine, Rubens Barrichello and Frentzen in 6th position, James Allen has news on race strategy.
Yes, I'm down in the McLaren garage, Murray. There's a terrific atmosphere of expectation down here. The mechanics all very keyed up, everyone very keen, of course, to win this race on Ferrari's home turf. Looks to me as though Mika Häkkinen is going with a 2-stop strategy, as lap time suggests that. But of course, if you were Michael Schumacher, you wouldn't want to run the risk of starting on 2 stops with the possibility that either Coulthard or Häkkinen might start on 1. If you were stuck behind them at the start, you'd be finished. So if you're hedging your bets, and I spoke to a number of the strategists from the other teams, I said, what would you do if you were running Michael Schumacher here today? They said, I'd start him on 1 stop, because McLaren may well split their strategies. 1 car on 1 stop, 1 on 2 stops. As we said before in the introduction, 1 stop is a bit of a gamble on the brakes. But the difference in the weight is 815 kilos, about half a second a lap. It looks to me at the moment, my guess at the moment, is Schumacher and Coulthard are 1 stopping, Häkkinen 2.
Well, time will tell. Thanks for that, James. Very useful indeed. And as I said, Ferrari certainly at the present moment seem to need some straws to clutch at, because Michael Schumacher is now 3 seconds behind Coulthard and 6.3 seconds behind the incredible Flying Finn, as he signs himself, Mika Häkkinen. As we look now at Olivier Panis, and Panis is being chased by Tora Takagi in the... there he is, there's Takagi in the arrows behind Mika Salo. Now, Salo started down in 17th position on the grid, and he's fought his way up to... he's currently in 14th place. So Mika, who was going extremely well in practicing, and this is his first drive in the BAR. Here we are, replay. And Olivier Panis dives through on the inside and takes Mika Salo, who is followed by Tora Takagi. Well, look at the size of that crowd. Absolutely mammoth. We're on lap 5 in this long 62-lap race. The race is going to last about an hour and 40 minutes. Now, Mika Häkkinen goes through. His lead over Coulthard was 3.2 seconds. It's now 4.2 seconds. And if David Coulthard was a worried man before, and he's been going round the whole Imola meeting with people saying to him, are you going to do it this time? And him saying, I'm very confident. You felt he was whistling in the wind a bit. He must be even more worried now.
Not as worried as old Michael. He's... it's not even a race. I mean, he's 1 second a lap consistently slower than Mika. I think it's a surprise probably for everybody except McLaren's.
Louise Goodman is with Jacques Villeneuve.
Jacques, a gear selection problem, I understand. Can you confirm that?
I have no idea what happened. All I know is that I couldn't go anywhere.
Dreadfully disappointing for you, but still so many positive things to take away from this race, I presume.
Well, we wanted to finish a race to see if the car could last, so that's not positive at all. We've been quick, but that's what we were expecting since the beginning of the season. We just had it a little bit late, and to finally be qualified 5th and have good chances in the race, it's very frustrating to not even take the start.
Well, back in the race, Pedro de la Rosa there, spinning the arrows, and out of the race has gone one of the Benettons with a wheel off. I just saw that it was a Benetton. Which one it was? It's Wurz. It's Alex Wurz. Now there you can see Pedro de la Rosa. He was battling with Alex Wurz. There's a replay. Now look, there is Tora Takagi. Behind him you see the spinning Benetton going off to the left, and De La Rosa's arrows stationary in the middle of the circuit. Now that is the Tosa. That's the 55 mile an hour. Lucky that wheel didn't hit anybody. It's an indication, incidentally, again, that the tethers, which are new to Formula One this year and are supposed to stop wheels from coming off, look as though they need to be yet stronger. They're designed to stand 5 tons, but obviously the force was even greater than that. You saw Alex Wurz walking in, thumbs up, I'm okay, he was saying. But now that means already we have 4 retirements. Jacques Villeneuve out, Jarno Trulli is out, Alexander Wurz is out, and Pedro de la Rosa is a questionable quantity.
Yeah, it was very difficult to see what happened there. The camera, unfortunately, didn't pick it up, but it looked like they were having a bit of a tangle breaking into the corner.
Well, we're on lap 7 now. Mika Häkkinen, 4.7 seconds ahead of David Coulthard, who is 3 seconds ahead of the man you are watching, Michael Schumacher. Well, there was never any doubt in anybody's mind about the fact that the Adrian Newey designed, or the Adrian Newey team designed, that McLaren was faster than the Ferrari. It looked, as I said earlier on, as though Ferrari had dramatically closed the gap. But, my goodness, this is an incredible Mika Häkkinen. He's leaving everybody absolutely standing. He didn't succeed in this race last year. He had a gearbox problem, and David Coulthard, his teammate, won it. But Mika Häkkinen has only got one problem now, potential problem, and that is reliability. It looks, even this early in the race, as though nothing can stop him. But the McLarens have not been as reliable as they would have hoped. Neither of them finished in Australia. David Coulthard failed to finish in Brazil, although admittedly Mika Häkkinen won the race. But if Häkkinen keeps this up, he's now 5 seconds ahead of Coulthard, 8 seconds ahead of Schumacher. There's De La Rosa spinning again the arrows. That was a replay of him spinning the arrows at Tosa. Now the top 10 in the San Marino Grand Prix on lap 8 out of 62. As you watch the seemingly unbeatable here, Mika Häkkinen leading by 5.4 seconds. David Coulthard follows him with Michael Schumacher in a poor 3rd position in comparison with his hopes. That is Alex Wurz's Benetton, minus wheel, being carried in. And in 4th position, it's Eddie Irvine. He's nearly 15 seconds behind Häkkinen now, who's not only flying, but going faster and faster.
Yeah. It looks like there must be some different strategy between Coulthard and Häkkinen. I'm looking at the sector times, and Häkkinen is faster than him nearly everywhere, down the straight as well. So I can't see, unless he's having a bit of a problem. Maybe they are on a different strategy.
Well, Eddie Irvine is 4th. Rubens Barrichello is in 5th position. Excellent in the Stewart as a result of Villeneuve going out. Barrichello has gained a place. Then there's Heinz-Farrell Frentzen. There he is, followed by Ralph Schumacher, and Damon Hill there in 8th position. Right up behind him is Jean Alesi, the French Sicilian, in the Sauber. Now the Sauber seems to be, there it is, seems to be going much better in the race in comparison with practice and qualifying. Alesi was complaining about an awful lot of oversteer. Behind him is Johnny Herbert, who started way down. He's in 10th position at the present moment, and Herbert has fought his way up through the field in hopefully a reliable Stewart-Ford. He blew an engine in the warm-up this morning, and they've changed it. And now we're riding with Alesi, and in front of us is Damon Hill. Out of the Variante Alta. What's the approach to Rivazza like, racing-wise, Jody?
Sorry, Maria, it wasn't there when I was there.
Well,
That's one of the new corners.
Here we are, out of the double left-hander at the Rivazza, up to the Variante Bassa, the right-hander, and Alesi pushing Damon Hill very hard indeed. Incidentally, while we're watching Damon Hill, you know that his beard is off. I'll tell you the real reason. His wife Georgie said to him, "I haven't kissed you properly for 6 weeks, Damon," and the beard came off this morning. So, there we are, Damon Hill, world champion 1996. And he won't be terribly pleased with this. He qualified in 8th position. He's only in 8th position. And remember that Villeneuve, who started ahead of him, is out of the race. So that means to say that from that point of view, Damon, it could be regarded as being in 9th position. But ahead of him, as he goes up from the Tosa to the Piratella, ahead of Damon Hill is Ralf Schumacher. We're on lap 10, which already is 1/6 distance.
We should see people coming in from about lap 18, unless they're on a three pit stops. So I think that's when the race will start developing into maybe a different type of race. Although Mika still looks so dominant, doing quickest times in sectors all the time. He's just done the quickest lap time again.
Oh, here we are, the first left-hander of the Rivazza, the second one, which is turn 14 in this 17-corner lap. And Alesi is right in the slipstream of Damon Hill. He can't do anything about it, because these cars, the performance is virtually identical. The drivers are the best there are in the world. And so if you're tight up behind a car whose performance is virtually the same as yours, and it's driven by a driver who's as good as you are, you've got to try and force him into making a mistake, which is what Michael Schumacher will be trying to do while we go to a break.
Back just a few moments ago. Look at that Panos coming out. AJ just lost it completely.
Yeah, he just got on the accelerator a bit early and spun the rear wheels, and off he went. These cars are very, very difficult to... I mean, they're almost like driving a normal car in the wet. They've got that much horsepower. Look, you can just see now he's coming in. And it gets back to what I said before about the aerodynamics versus the grooves in the tyres. Instead of taking grooves in the tyres, I should have left slicks on and taken the aerodynamics off. Once these cars get out of shape a little bit, that's the end of it.
Yeah, well, that's, of course, both of Prost having trouble off the circuit. A couple of things just before we go back to Murray. I'm amazed how many cars have had a gear problem or a gear-related problem this year.
Well, I think it's a typical case of them trying to be very smart. They've all got their own ideas of working the gearbox hydraulically and fibre or carbon fibre gearbox and aluminium gearboxes, and probably a little bit smart for their own good because they're suffering too much mechanical problems.
Well, Villeneuve, I mean, what a shame. I mean, he qualified so well this time round.
Yeah, that is a shame because a 5th position in that car was a great effort, and it would have been good to see him up there.
Reliability is going to be the key tonight. Now, this place, is it hard on engines?
It is very hard on engines. They're pulling a lot of high revs for a long time, and I wouldn't be at all surprised to start seeing cars going out fairly shortly with engine problems.
Let's take you back to Murray Walker and Jody Scheckter.
To James Allen in the pit lane.
Well, Murray, as Jody was just saying, this really is a race for the strategists. I've toddled along now to the Ferrari garage and went up to their genial public relations man, Claudio Barrow, to see if I could get any information from him. But of course, as always in Formula One, they don't make it easy for you. You're not giving anything away. But what I can tell you is that last year, Michael Schumacher started the race with 75 kilos of fuel on board. He stopped on lap 26 there. He'd only need an extra 15 kilos of fuel to go through to lap 33, which is the midpoint if you're stopping once. But I can tell you that Ferrari really are concerned with the effect of the extra weight that would have on the brakes. Now, Looking at the times at the moment, 129.222 for Häkkinen in that last lap. They're still some way off the 128.6 we saw the fastest this morning by Coulthard in the warm-up. I think you could probably rule out a three-stopper, and I'm still in my belief that Häkkinen stopping twice, Coulthard and Schumacher stopping once.
You may be right, James, but whatever, David Coulthard there is now under pressure from Michael Schumacher, no doubt about it. The gap between the two of them, the McLaren there and the Ferrari in the background, has come down to just over 3 seconds from 4.4 seconds, and it's been heightened by the fact that David lost a little time coming out of the Tosa. He put his right rear wheel just over the concrete rumble strip onto the grass, slipped a bit, and that will have enabled Michael Schumacher to close up a little. Not a lot, but David likes this circuit, fancied himself very much here after his victory last year. He's not in the race at the present moment compared with Häkkinen, but the strategy could change the whole thing. If Häkkinen is coming in twice and David is coming in once, it's going to be a very tight finish to the San Marino Grand Prix. Lap 16 out of 62, and Mika Häkkinen has gone faster again. He's really forcing to build up a lead. He's just gone round in 129.145, which is faster than his fastest lap and the fastest lap last year. 0.2 of a second faster. It's not a new lap record because Heinz-Harald Frenzen's time in the Williams in 1997 was in a car on slick tyres and suspension which suited racing better than the narrow cars of today. But nevertheless, it gives you an indication of how incredibly quick Häkkinen is going.
Yes, I mean, you've got to think he's on a different strategy, on a two-stop or three-stop strategy, or different to David and Michael.
Well, here is our first, and I'm sure, planned pit stop. Jody, you were absolutely right. You said they would start round about lap 16, and this is lap 16. My hat is taken off to you. 10.4 seconds for Jean Alesi, who will have taken on quite a fuel load, of course, but he's obviously on a two-stop strategy. And there is Mika Häkkinen. Now he's already up with Marc Genet, who is running 18th and last on the track. So after 16 laps, Mika Häkkinen, the leader, is coming up to lap the Spaniard Marc Genet in the Minardi in his first season of Formula One racing. An enormous gap. There was some 4.5 seconds a lap difference between them in qualifying. And he's obviously holding Mika Häkkinen up a bit at the moment, but Häkkinen bobs out from behind his slipstream. Left, right, back again, clear track. Lovely. And his next target is the other Minardi of Luca Benoa, running 17th. And the race order on lap 17, as you watch race leader Mika Häkkinen, is David Coulthard is second, 13 seconds behind him. Michael Schumacher, 17 seconds behind Häkkinen. Fourth is Eddie Irvine, Ferrari, 25 seconds down. Fifth is Rubens Barrichello, 33 seconds down. You are watching Fisichella and Takagi. Takagi in the arrows, nearly losing it. And in sixth position behind Barrichello, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, last man in the points. Ralf Schumacher in the Williams is seventh, Damon Hill is eighth, Johnny Herbert ninth in the Stewart. And that's a very good performance because Johnny started in 12th position. He started, and Louise Goodman has Alex Wurz.
Alex, from the pictures that we had, it was quite difficult to see what happened. What can you tell us?
I can tell you that a collision with Pedro de la Rosa. Pedro was in front of me due to the problems with Jacques Villeneuve from the start.
Oh, off goes Mika Häkkinen. Off goes Mika Häkkinen out of the race. Mika Häkkinen, the race leader, loses the McLaren and slam bang into the wall. He was going too fast, pushing, and the fin is out. No points at Imola. No points for his McLaren. David Coulthard leads. Here's a replay. Up onto the curb, onto the grass, loses traction, into the wall, out of the race. Wow! This transforms things. Well, thank heavens, Mika is perfectly all right. Yet another indication of how safe the cars are these days.
Yes, it looked like, I mean, he was pushing it so much, as you said, Overconfidence, I'm not sure. Maybe a lack of concentration, but he went just that little bit much. The back came out, he overcorrected and went straight forward into the wall. That's what happens, I suppose.
Well, only no McLarens finished in Melbourne, only one McLaren finished in Brazil, only one at best is going to finish here in Italy, and of course the crowd has gone absolutely mad because they have seen the chance for their man, Michael Schumacher, in their car, Ferrari, to win this race. He is some 4 seconds behind David Coulthard, and we presume that they are on the same strategy as you look at the helmet of Tora Takagi in the arrows. Here's a replay. Let's see what happened to Mika Häkkinen.
Well, you couldn't see on that picture so much, but the picture before, the replay before, he got his rear wheel a little bit too much over. As I said, overcorrected and went straight into the wall. But you were saying, Murray, he wasn't hurt. I can assure you the pain he's feeling inside is a lot worse than the pain he would have felt on the outside from some little injury.
Yeah, maybe no physical pain, but you're right, an enormous amount of mental pain, because Mika Häkkinen is on 10 World Championship points at the present moment. His rival, Michael Schumacher, is on 6, but you see him pricking his neck there. He would have taken a tremendous thump, because even though the helmets are much lighter these days, it would have given him a real bang. He's right in front of me as I talk to you, walking sadly back. He needs to get off the track as quickly as he possibly can behind a protective wall. He went off, someone else could do the same thing. But now here is the man on whom McLaren's hopes really depend in this race, David Coulthard, last year's pole position holder, last year's winner, and there is Michael Schumacher pushing. He's on a charge. Now he's got to get past Takagi. Takagi's a mobile chicane at the present moment, and Michael Schumacher dives through on the inside of him. Takagi moves over. Now, the gap is coming down from 4.4 seconds to 3.9 seconds to 3.7 seconds. The San Marino Grand Prix is on, and Eddie Irvine moves up into 3rd position. Ferrari 2nd and 3rd. McLaren leads. Stewart, in the form of Rubens Barrichello, have a man in 4th place. And Jordan, in the form of Heinz-Harald Frentzen, have the 5th runner. Ralf Schumacher in the Williams is 6th, and Damon Hill is just out of the points in 7th place, ahead of Johnny Herbert. So, David Coulthard leads. Eddie Irvine is 3rd. Damon Hill is 7th, and Johnny Herbert is 8th. And thank heavens, Mika Häkkinen is okay. What sort of pressures is David Coulthard under now?
Well, probably the pressure that he likes. You know, now he's where he wanted to be, in the lead. He's got to pull it off for the team. Michael obviously has got a new lease of life, because he knows now that he's capable certainly of winning the race. I think with Mika there, he had no chance at all.
Well, even if he doesn't win the race, even if he finishes 2nd, that's 6 World Championship points, which will put him ahead of Mika Häkkinen. And everybody, including me, keeps on saying how incredibly quick the Ferraris are. But as a lot of other people rightly point out, they may be quick, but they are not leading either championship. James Allen has news.
Murray, don't you just love Grand Prix racing? As soon as you think it's becoming processional, something happens, turns the whole thing on its head, and the sport reinvents itself. This really is a close race. These guys are definitely on the same strategy. But just in case Mika Häkkinen is feeling too bad, he should consult himself with the fact that back in 1993 in qualifying, the late, great Ayrton Senna did exactly the same thing. Lost it out of that chicane, spun it backwards in a McLaren. So he's in good company there.
Yep, and Michael Schumacher is going through this field like a hot knife through butter, and look, you can visually see that he is closing up on David Coulthard, race leader. He went past Marc Genet in the Minardi as though he was standing still. And now Coulthard, Schumacher, Irvine, Barrichello, Frentzen, Schumacher, Ralf are the top 6. Damon Hill still there. Schumacher is catching Coulthard. Eddie Irvine is actually catching Michael Schumacher. The gap between them is 9 seconds, but it is diminishing. And that could be an indication of the fact that they are on different strategies, or the fact that Michael Schumacher is on hard compound Bridgestones and Eddie Irvine is on a softer compound Bridgestone. They'll both last the race, no problem there. It's just a question of which is more suitable for the heat conditions that apply today. And it is pretty hot because the track temperature now is 30 degrees. And the crowd there on the Rivazza bank are silent but enormously excited. 3.8 seconds between Coulthard, race leader. Michael Schumacher, the winner in 1994 for Benetton. Second last year, second the year before. There is Martinet and Takagi nearly losing. I'm not at all sure he didn't actually lose the arrows. If he got it back into shape, he did very well indeed. Well, we've got two very experienced chaps, Jody, because David Coulthard is in his 77th Grand Prix. Mika Häkkinen in his 120th. But whilst Michael Schumacher is closing up on David Coulthard, we're going to take a very quick break. But he's comfortably ahead of Rubens Barrichello, who is in fourth position, as we rejoin race leader David Coulthard, exiting the second Rivazza, coming up to the Variante Bassa, down to the Traguardo, the left and right, which completes the lap. The gap on the previous lap was 3.3 seconds.
And it looks like Michael is really starting to push now, because his times are coming down and down. He's been quicker than David in the last two laps. He's just done nearly the identical time, so it's very, very close. As I said earlier, I think they're really pushing now the pit stop. It's important if they're going to gain a position on the track.
Well, this is all very bad news for McLaren, of course, because although David Coulthard is leading the race, there's the vital Constructors' Championship. And again, Ferrari are demonstrating reliability as into the pit lane comes the Stewart. Now, is it Rubens Barrichello or is it Johnny Herbert? It's Rubens Barrichello. He's coming in from fifth position. He was only 6.7 seconds ahead of Frentzen, so Frentzen will have gone through and taken the pace, as Fisichella with Pedro Diniz behind him, and they are Lacey behind him, my apologies. They are 11th and 12th, exit the Traguardo. Alex Zanardi in the Williams, and he is only in 10th position. Not a good race for him. Back again with John Alesi, 12th position, chasing, and the sole BAR upholding the new team's honour. Mika Salo, it's his first race in the car, ex-Arrows driver last year. He was released, as they put it, by the Arrows team, missed the Australian-Brazilian Grand Prix, has rejoined because Ricardo Zonta, the Brazilian, hurt his foot in practice for the Brazilian Grand Prix, and Mika Salo has been proving what a very fine driver he is.
Coulthard has just done the quickest lap that he's done. Michael was slightly slower that lap, so it's getting down to where they're getting ready for a pit stop, and they want to gain as much time as they can so they don't lose a position on the track.
Well, now we're at the Variante Alta, right, left, dropping down to the Rivazza, riding with Jean Alesi, chasing Fisichella, 180 miles an hour at this point. There's right, and then down through the gears to second gear to a maximum of about 60 miles an hour at the apex. And really get some lock on there. That's how quick the driver's reflexes have to be in Formula One. Martinet, into the pits comes the Sauber of Pedro Diniz. Diniz is in an excellent ninth position, ahead of his teammate John Alesi, who's reckoned rightly so to be one of the quicker men in Formula 3. We're on lap 26. David Coulthard has yet to stop. Michael Schumacher has yet to stop. The gap is 3.4 seconds, or was. Here is the leader into his 27th lap. 3.4 seconds. Schumacher continues to inch up on the McLaren ahead of him. of him, and the positions could all be changed when they come into the pits for their first, never mind their second stops.
I think the thing now is which one can stay out the longest so they can get a little bit of an edge, and are they faster towards the end?
Now, Louise Goodman's got Mika Häkkinen.
I have got Mika Häkkinen with me. Mika, you were pushing very hard at the beginning of that race. Did you push just a bit too hard?
Well, obvious question what the people normally ask. Was it your mistake or was it the car mistake? We racing drivers, we never said it was our fault. But I think this time it was, I was just pushing the car on the limit, like you said. And I was on the curb, coming out of the corner. And just when the rear tires dropped off the curb, they spun the car around. And there's no way I could have handled the machine. It just slid on the wall.
Big difference in pace between you and David. Was that down to strategy, or were you just going for it?
I can tell you that maybe tomorrow.
Thank you, Mika.
He's told us already. He's told us, in effect, that he was on a two-stop strategy and David Coulthard was on a one-stop strategy. Well,
in my day, when you came out the car, they said, "Stupid boy," after you've done something like that.
Well, he'll be kicking himself, no doubt about that. We're on lap 27, getting up towards half distance already in the San Marino Grand Prix, with Coulthard and Schumacher both yet to stop. There's David. And Schumacher is some 3.3 seconds behind him now. There he is in the background. I was talking about the effect of the Constructors' Championship. Well, if David Coulthard wins this race, he will be on 10 points. And we're looking at a Lacey diving through inside Fisichella. And that is an indication of how badly the Benetton is handling compared with the way they'd like it to handle.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's strange. Early on, when it seemed like everybody was leaving Benetton, and they still came back being competitive, and I couldn't understand that, because they obviously had depth of engineering, but yeah, I think it shows, you know, when you lose your good people, you really can't keep the car in front all the time.
Well, Damon Hill is in the top 6 now. Rubens Barrichello has been in to make his pit stop and has lost time. Damon Hill took advantage of that, moved up into the top 6, but he has yet to stop. Now, I will get this point out about the Constructors' Championship. At the moment, Ferrari are on 10 World Championship points, with Schumacher second and Irvine third. McLaren the same, with Coulthard leading the race. But it would mean that if they stay where they are now, Ferrari will still be leading the Constructors' Championship by 8 vital points at the end of this race. Remember what Eddie Irvine said about putting money on himself still leading the Drivers' Championship at the end of this race. Well, he's on 4 World Championship points at the moment, which would give him 16 in all. And unless Michael Schumacher wins this race, and even if he does, they would be equal. It looks as though Eddie Irvine could well be right. Lap 29, Coulthard leads. There he is on the right side of your screen. Behind him in the Scarlet Ferrari, climbing out from the Tosa. That man, Michael Schumacher, 24 laps left. Eddie Irvine is 19 seconds behind Schumacher. Into the pits comes Ralph Schumacher in the Williams from 4th place. Oh, nice clean stop. 8.8 seconds. And of course the times are coming down because they're taking on less fuel now. And Ferrari are getting ready for Eddie Irvine, I can tell you that. And Damon Hill will now be up into 4th position temporarily. And the gap now is between Coulthard there and Michael Schumacher. You will see in a moment. There he is. 3 seconds, or was. I think it's going to be even closer. And Diniz is in front of Coulthard, and the gap is 2.5 seconds.
And Michael is going quicker in every sector all the time. He's obviously really trying to get right up to, before the pit stop, right up to David.
Now, it's absolutely essential for Diniz to move over and let Coulthard through, as into the pits comes Eddie Irvine from 3rd position. And out of the race goes Schumacher. Ralf Schumacher, that is, of course, in the Williams. And out of the pits goes Eddie Irvine. And he should just about, yes, he's all right, because Damon Hill was some 23 seconds behind him. I think that Irvine is going to rejoin the race, still in third position. And still, David Coulthard has not got past Pedro Diniz into the pits. The Jordan. Frenson's already been in. Damon Hill comes in from fourth position. 7.6 seconds. That's a nice, quick, clean stop. Lap 30. 62-lap race. They're on the half-distance lap now, and look at Michael Schumacher. He's right up close now. He can almost see the gearbox of David Coulthard's McLaren in front of him. Out goes Zanardi from his pit stop. 8th position, he was in. And Jean Alesi should have got past him. Now, Coulthard, you see, held up by Diniz.
He lost a second and a bit that lap.
And he lost a full second in that lap. And the gap is just over 1 second. Michael Schumacher driving a superb race.
Oh yes, this is when he really shows up. When it counts, he's putting massive pressure on David at the right time.
Well, Irvine has been in, Coulthard has not been in. We're on lap 31. I can tell you, I look out across the pit lane and I can see that the Ferrari mechanics are coming out, and that will be therefore for Michael Schumacher in second position. And it's at that point where David Coulthard really needs to put the pressure on and try and increase his lead.
That's right, whoever goes in first has got the disadvantage, I believe, because the other one then has to try and get a bit of a gap so he can come in and come out in front. But it's really how quick they are at the end of the run.
And of course it's then down to the team mechanics. They've all been drilling. You saw how a pit stop work sequence before this race began, and very impressive it was too. And both the McLaren and the Ferrari teams are excellent. But David Coulthard's got a slow man in front of him. This could badly affect him. It's Marc Genet. And now in comes Schumacher. James Allen, he's all yours.
Thank you very much, Murray. In comes Michael, really hot. Usually it's the guy who stays out on the circuit at this period who has the advantage. Häkkinen did it at the Nürburgring last year. It's a very similar race. No clock there, we can't tell you. 6.9. 75 kilos went in there. They put a lighter fuel load in. That was an earlier stop than Michael needed to make, but he's ready to go through to the end of the race. Very, very finely balanced, this one.
Yeah, I think that although Coulthard has now got past Marc Genet, it may just have slowed him enough to tip the balance in Michael Schumacher's favour. 6.9 seconds is a mighty quick pit stop.
Right, I'm watching his times around the different sectors, and he still looks like he's on pace. So I don't think he lost much time.
Takagi down in 15th place, getting that stop-go penalty. It won't really affect the race, except that it should mean that Marc Genet will move ahead of him. He might not even do that because he's well back. The last man on the circuit that's running at the present moment is Marc Genet, and there is Takagi out of the race. I think it looked like Takagi to me. He's decided he won't take his 10-second penalty. Johnny Herbert comes in, and Herbert comes in from 5th position in the points. So both the Stewarts are now in the points, or they were when Johnny came in. I'm just trying to work out whether he will have lost his place. Yes, he will have lost his place to Frenson, and it is Tora Takagi who is out of the race. So we now only have 15 of the 22 competitors left, and Rubens Barrichello is tight up behind
David Coulthard. And David did a slow lap that last lap, which is going to hurt him tremendously, because now is the time he absolutely has to get in the hottest laps he can. This is as much of qualifying now, these next few laps, as qualifying is.
Precisely so, but I have to say that the master tactician in Formula One, in my opinion, is Ross Brawn, who is the Ferrari technical director. He's worked with Michael Schumacher at Benetton, and made him world champion 2 years in succession, 94 and 95. He went across to Ferrari at Michael Schumacher's behest, and he's got a wonderfully acute and astute tactical brain. and it could well be that he made the right decision to bring Michael Schumacher in a bit earlier. We're on lap 33 now, 29 laps left in the race. We're over half distance. David Coulthard, of course, has increased his lead to some 20 seconds, but it takes all of that for a pit stop, and he needs to have, in my opinion, a lead of over 20 seconds in order to have a chance of preserving his lead. Is this the second BAR going out with Mika Häkkinen at the wheel, slowing down? But now on lap 34, race order, David Coulthard, 19 seconds, and he's ahead of Michael Schumacher, who's had his stop. And Michael Schumacher on fresh tyres is flying. He's just made the fastest lap of the race, faster than Mika Häkkinen, 1:28.8, which of course is half a second faster than the fastest lap last year. And Michael Schumacher, like everybody, is on 4-groove front tyres, whereas last year they only had 3 grooves. What's the difference apart from 1 groove? Less grip. And still Michael Schumacher can go faster than last year.
He's flying. They have to bring David in now unless they're on a one-stop strategy. I can't see I can't see him winning the race if they keep him going this slowly when Michael's going so fast.
Well, he's on the hard tyres. There's no doubt about the fact that he could do the whole race on one set of tyres, because it's not that the tyres won't last the race, if anybody thinks that. It is that the grip is not as good as it is on fresh tyres. So it's a very fine balancing point between coming in and changing a set or not. And we're going to know who's got the solution, the best solution, very shortly. Through for another lap goes David Coulthard. He's on his 35th lap now in this 62-lap race. But the lead has come down to 18.6 seconds as Schumacher on fresh tyres in comparison with Coulthard on worn tyres is closing in on the McLaren ahead. Eddie Irvine is still third. Rubens Barrichello is back into 4th position after Frentzen and Hill have stopped. Frentzen is 5th in the Jordan. Damon Hill is 6th in the Jordan. So 2 Ferraris and 2 Jordans in the top 6. And that's great news for Jordan, who are fighting for 3rd place in the Constructors' Championship. As McLaren come out of the pit, the McLaren mechanics come out, they're getting ready to bring David Coulthard in. Michael Schumacher's stop took 6.9 seconds. If David Coulthard takes longer than that, he's going to be in trouble.
I think he's going to be in trouble.
There are the mechanics. They're all ready. At the front jack, the rear jack, as Zanardi comes towards us. He's in 9th position ahead of Jean Alesi's Sauber. 15 cars and drivers left in the San Marino Grand Prix, and this is the man that everybody is watching. James Allen, he's entering the pit lane.
Well, David Coulthard had a 2.6 second lead over Michael Schumacher before Schumacher made that stop. David Coulthard now in the pit lane, and 6.9 the target, 18.3 seconds Coulthard's lead before he came in this time round, and I don't think that's enough to get back out in the lead. There's a little bit of confusion at the back end. It definitely wasn't quite as quick as the Ferrari guys. Now Schumacher took it slightly easier on the full tanks. Watch out for Coulthard's brakes later in the race.
James, let me have it. Schumacher takes the lead. It's too long, but it took 3 seconds longer than the Ferrari stop. And what is more, Michael Schumacher has slashed his way through the traffic, and David Coulthard has got 2 cars between him. And there they are. There is Schumacher making his way through the traffic as David Coulthard exits the pits. This could be the turning point of the race.
I think it is. Michael was going so quickly coming up when he put those new tyres on. David wasn't getting the times out, and as you could see, the pit stop was a little slower. And I think that's what it's about in these races.
Well, in the past, the Ferrari team had a bit of a reputation for being slightly chaotic. Not anymore, not anymore. Under the tutelage of Ross Brawn in particular and Jean Todt, the French team manager in particular, they have really got their disciplined act together. And that is Jean Alesi, to Pedro Diniz, my apologies, nearly taking Eddie Irvine off as Fisichella comes into the pits, where on lap 36 we have a new leader in the form of Michael Schumacher. David Coulthard is down to second place, Eddie Irvine is third, and Irvine is catching Coulthard in front of him. Barrichello is fourth in the Stewart, Frentzen is fifth, and Hill is sixth in the Jordans. Seventh is Giancarlo Fisichella, and the Ferrari flags are waving all around me in the grandstand as the tifosi stand up and cheer their hero, Michael Schumacher. Wow.
I'm sure you can feel that or see that in his view, the crowd standing up when he goes into the lead. It's an incredible sight in front of us in the grandstand here.
Well, Michael Schumacher leads, David Coulthard second. We're going to leave. Join us again soon. Damaged physically, considerably hurt mentally, and David Coulthard there, the third of these cars, can't get past Olivier Panis, who is battling with the blue Benetton of Fisichella, which is in 10th position, and David Coulthard is dropping back, a second a lap. He's now nearly 10 seconds behind Michael Schumacher, and he goes through and takes Panis. Now he's got to close up on Fisichella. I think Olivier moved over, actually, and led him through there. Yeah, we saw Ron Dennis. You will have seen him running down the pit lane, and he went to have a little friendly chat with his ex-driver, Alain Prost, and I guess the gist of it would have been, come on, Alan, give us a break. Tell your chap to move over and let David through. He is, after all, a lap ahead of him, and he's not going to gain anything by holding him back. But the man who has gained, of course, is Michael Schumacher, because David Coulthard has still got to get past Fisichella, who is in 10th position, and nearly a full lap behind him. David trying very hard, too hard. Panis goes through again.
Locked up brakes there, just went straight off. And he's not doing quick times either. He's really battling with his new set of tyres. Doesn't look good.
Jody, we always, in the commentary box, you can't tell what's happening. You say, that was very ragged. He may have a problem. He may have a gearbox problem. He may have a brake problem.
Well, it looked like he locked up his left front brake coming into the corner. Couldn't release it. You have the decision to make. Do you let it off and put your power on and get around? And sometimes you can't. You just got to keep on slowing it down. And if it doesn't lock up, and he went straight.
Well, meantime, very quickly, before we go to James Allen, I can tell you that Eddie Irvine in third position is catching David Coulthard. There is a prospect at the present moment of a Ferrari 1-2. James, what's the news?
Well, I mentioned at Coulthard's stop that I thought that Michael had been taking it a little bit easy in the opening stages. Of course, then at that point in the race, the cars are filled with fuel, 85, 90 kilos of fuel on board, and that's when the brakes take the real hammering. Michael was taking it a little bit gingerly at the start compared to the two McLarens, and now I was wondering whether or not the McLaren brakes would start to go off as a result of the pace Coulthard was pushing at, and maybe we're starting to see that's definitely the first sign of a long brake pedal for Coulthard, which allowed Panis to get back in front of him.
Well, whatever it is, David Coulthard is back in exactly the position that he was before, as you rightly point out, James. He's got to fight to get past Panis again, and he's still got to get past Fisichella, and all the time, there he is, the race leader, Michael Schumacher, riding the curves, which the Ferrari does extremely well, is pulling away from him. It's over 13 seconds now. That was Norbert Haug, the Mercedes boss. And David Coulthard, still, you see, he can't get past the Prost, which can't get past the Benetton, and the Benettons qualified well down in 16th and 17th places. Fisichella's lapping in 1 minute 32.9. and Schumacher is lapping in 1 minute 29, and the gap is up to nearly 16 seconds now between race leader Michael Schumacher on lap 41 and David Coulthard.
Do you think Ron's going to go down and do another visit to old Alan?
Well, he needs to make a couple of visits. He said, well, there we are. Panis has got the message again. And David Coulthard recovers, but he needs to stay on the track. And now, you're right, Ron may be legging it down to talk to Joanne Villadel-Prat or Pat Simmons, who are the top people in the Benetton team on the pit lane, to ask them to tell Fisichella to move over. You may think that's not cricket, but it isn't cricket anyway. It's motor racing, and David Coulthard with Fisichella effectively a lap behind him wouldn't be unreasonable if he was saying on the radio to Ron Dennis, for heaven's sake, tell them to get Fisichella out of my way so that I can attack this chap. Michael Schumacher, lap 42. Schumacher goes faster again. He's really going for it. 1 minute 28.6, which is 7/10 of a second faster than his fastest lap last year. 1 minute 29.34.
And that's the quickest
David
lap.
Coulthard's done it, and Panis is thumped by Fisichella. Olivier Panis is having a terrible 1999.
I thought it was David Coulthard for a second, but it wasn't. So Michael has just set the fastest lap of the race, which is the first time he's gone quicker than Mika had gone early on.
Yeah, that's because you see, Michael Schumacher's going through this field like a hot knife through butter. He's right up to Damon Hill, who is running 6th. He's lapped everybody except the 6th, 5th, 4th, 3rd and 2nd place men. And Damon Hill is 63 seconds in 6th position behind Michael Schumacher on lap 42. 63 seconds behind in a lap which is taking 88 seconds. So it looks as though if Michael Schumacher goes for the rest of the race as he has gone so far, he's certainly going to lap Damon Hill. But both the Jordans are in the top 6 on 3 World Championship Constructors points. Rubens Barrichello, an excellent 4th for the Stewart team. And Barrichello's already had a 5th place in Australia, where he led the race very convincingly indeed, the first race of the year. And then 5th and 6th position, Frenson and Hill. There's the Benetton team ready to receive Fisichella with Woods out of the race long ago. The retirements, in order of retirement, Jacques Villeneuve, who had that gear engagement problem. Jarno Trulli went off, Alexander Wurz out of the race, as are Pedro de la Rosa in the Arrows. And Häkkinen, of course, with his crash. Ralf Schumacher went off the track. Tora Takagi spun out. And there are 15 left now out of the 22 that started.
What I can't understand is why is Michael pushing it so much now? He really has the race wrapped up, but you know, I suppose that's Michael, that's his style.
Yeah, I think so. They get you. Well, who should know better than you? You get into the rhythm, and they tell me, Jody. I mean, I've never done it, but they tell me that you can lose concentration if you slow down too.
No, I think that's right, but you don't want to be pushing going over the curves. I think that gets a little bit tricky. You want to be pushing just so you're not hurting the car.
Well, let's watch him now. Just lets it go out onto the curb there. Here's a replay. And
very polite.
Yeah, well, a bit too polite, running right off the track to let Michael Schumacher through. Lap 44, 62 lap race. There's the comparison, you see. Michael Schumacher continues to lap dramatically quicker than David Coulthard, who is now 20 seconds behind, 20 seconds behind. And Eddie Irvine is 17 seconds behind David Coulthard. It's making things look very good indeed from Ferrari's point of view. The Sauber, Pedro Diniz, he's way down in 15th position. He has already been lapped. He's been lapped 3 times. Janet's been lapped twice. Badar's been lapped twice. And everybody else up to Damon Hill has been lapped once. And looking at this stage of the race, as we see Eddie Irvine tearing off a visor strip, obviously getting dirty, clearing his vision. Well, there's no doubt about it. I'm just working out the drivers' championship points, assuming, probably wrongly, that they all stay where they are now. But Michael Schumacher's on 10 World Championship points at the moment, which would give him 16. Eddie Irvine is on 4 World Championships points, which would give him 16. We're facing the prospect at the present moment of 2 Ferrari drivers being jointly in the lead of the Drivers' Championship, and Ferrari themselves having a very secure lead of some 10 points in the Constructors' Championship. But there are still 18 laps to go as the Ferrari mechanics get ready to bring in Eddie Irvine, who was putting on a burst. It's his 2nd stop. Now, are Michael Schumacher and David Coulthard coming in again? Yes, they are certainly going to be coming in again. But Michael Schumacher is almost in the situation now where he can come in, make his change and just get out in the lead, which would more or less sign and seal things for David Coulthard, assuming the Ferrari stays as reliable as it has been. James, here's Irvine.
Schumacher.
It's Schumacher.
So that's why he was pushing
surprise.
it. Yeah, that's why he was pushing it. I mean, now it starts to make sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, Michael Schumacher came in. We were expecting Eddie Irvine. Very, very quick stop indeed. And Michael Schumacher was 21.8 seconds ahead, and he's got ahead of the traffic, and he's got ahead of David Coulthard. Well, that's another brilliant bit of timing, because you're shaking your head. You don't agree?
Well, no, I think it's absolutely right. I mean, I think they've just pulled it out of the bag with the strategy they had. I mean, I certainly wasn't on top of it.
I think Ross Brawn has read this race to perfection. He just got Schumacher in. Now look at it, you see, here he is on a replay exiting the pit lane as 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th car of David Coulthard, and the Ferrari mechanics realised that stop could well have won the San Marino Grand Prix for them. They congratulate each other, and rightly so, as Michael Schumacher on a fresh set of Bridgestones, nice grippy boots, comes out to his 46th lap now, this 62-lap race. The man who finished 2nd in Brazil and 8th position in Australia. We'll stay with Schumacher. You're going to leave him for a moment, but join us soon.
Welcome back. Well, you just saw elation in the Ferrari pits when Schumacher did that brilliant stop. But look at this, Eddie Irvine's car blowing up. So the 2nd Ferrari out. AJ, the uncertainty of sport makes it compulsive viewing.
Well, the uncertainty of Formula One, Daz. I mean, you know, you've never won until you've drunk the milk, as they say at Indianapolis, because, you know, you just never know what's going to happen. It's man-made, it's mechanical. Oh, no, who's this, Frentzen or Hill? That's a shame. The Jordans, Frentzen, the Jordans were running, I think, 3rd or 4th and 5th at that stage. That's a shame.
Let's go back to Murray Walker.
Up into 5th position comes Johnny Herbert, followed by Alex Zanardi in the Williams. Well, what a couple of developments. 2 top 6 men out. Michael Schumacher, and you have to worry, Jody, when you see one car go out in a team, you have to worry about the other one.
That's right. I think Michael now he's got to back off, drop his revs a little bit. Mind you, David's still in striking distance, but I would say he would be just trying to drop the revs a little bit, because if he has the same engine or the same rev of an engine, it could happen to him as well, and maybe he can save it a little bit.
Well, there is David Coulthard, who has yet to make that second stop that we're expecting. And he will have seen Eddie Irvine's car stationary by the side of the road. And if I can work out that one Ferrari going out could mean that the other will go out, David Coulthard is more than capable of doing the same thing. So that will have heartened him enormously. The gap between them is about 6 seconds, and James Allen has got some Ferrari news.
Well, Murray, I'm down in the Ferrari garage with Claudio Berra, team spokesman. Claudio, what happened to Eddie?
Exactly, I don't know why I don't have information in the radio, but I watched the TV, and the TV I think is a classic broke. And then I look the Francis car in spin after Eddie. I think the problem is in the engine gear, but it's sure they are problem.
And you think Frentzen...
They are all in the track.
Yeah, so you think Frentzen went off on the oil. Okay, thanks a lot, Claudio.
Well, lap 49, Damon Hill moves up into the podium position of third place. He's yet to score a point in 1999. He desperately needs some. I've been saying that three men had slightly tarnished reputations when this race began. Alex Zanardi, Damon Hill and David Coulthard. Well, David Coulthard is running second, but you just see the McLaren behind Michael Schumacher. Damon Hill is running third. Alex Zanardi is in 7th position because up into 6th place now, as a result of Zanardi's pit stop, has come Giancarlo Fisichella in the Benetton. We certainly didn't expect that at the beginning of this race after they had a very, very bad practice and qualifying period. And Rubens Barrichello is in 4th place. Both the stewards in the top 6. Order again. Schumacher, lap 50, leads by 7 seconds. He leads that man, David Coulthard. Damon Hill has been lapped, but he's 3rd. Rubens Barrichello is 4th, 11 seconds behind Hill. Johnny Herbert is 5th in the Stewart, 24 seconds behind Barrichello. Fisichella is 6th, Zanardi is 7th, Alesi is 8th. Mika Häkkinen running well in the sole remaining BAR is 9th. Ahead of Olivier Panis and Luca Badar. Out of the pits goes Heinz-Harald Frentzen. Goes Damon Hill. Frentzen already out of the race, of course. We've just seen him retire. Luca Badar is 11th. Marc Genet is 12th. And there are 12 runners left out of the 22 who started as we look at Rubens Barrichello closing up on Damon Hill. Now, Barrichello has got the new Ford Cosworth V10 engine, which is the smallest, allegedly, the lightest, allegedly, and certainly one of the 2 most powerful. They just got to make it reliable. It's been reliable in this race, as has Johnny Herbert's. They're running at reduced revs in comparison with qualifying. And out goes Panis, Olivier Panis, from 10th position. Well, the mice are getting at the machinery now. I wonder how many are going to finish.
If we can get back to the tactics of Ferraris, I mean, it really seemed to demoralize David when Michael went out and was going so quickly, and you really thought it was all over. But then he came in for a stop, so if David could have stayed up with him, he could have had a chance. But what a tactic!
Well, we've got 12 laps now, and Michael Schumacher is about 6.5 seconds ahead of Coulthard. But in the previous lap, Coulthard took half a second out of the Ferrari. Now, you never know in this situation whether the car leading has got a minor problem or whether the driver is just being extremely intelligent and pacing himself to the end of the race. In this situation, with the gap now under 6 seconds, as you see from that caption, I would have thought it was the latter, that Michael Schumacher was pacing himself. But there's still some way to go. We're on lap 52. Michael Schumacher leads David Coulthard by just under 6 seconds. Barrichello is 3rd ahead of Damon Hill. Johnny Herbert is 5th. Fisichella is 6th. We're going to a break.
Frentzen went off before AJ Classic blow-up by the look of that.
It certainly is, and providing they've got the same engines, now with the real-time telemetry that they're all operating out of the pits, those guys will know exactly what the cause of that was, and they'll be able to tell Michael to either ease off on the revs or whatever's necessary. But at this stage, Michael's certainly looking very comfortable.
Yeah, 53 laps, but Coulthard is really, really on a charge. He's now the fastest car on the circuit, closing the gap, but whether he can get past, of course, is another thing.
Well, there's only 9 laps to go, and it depends on who's looked after their tyres the best as to who's got the, you know, more grip available. But with 9 laps to go, I mean, it's one thing to catch him, it's another thing to pass him.
Whoa!
Oh, it looks like a Minardi, I think. Oh, no, Sauber, is it? Yeah.
Denise going off, so we're losing. A lot of cars are getting very loose on the rubber at this circuit late in the race. Let's go back now to Murray Walker and Jody Scheckter.
7th position, Alex Zanardi is catching Fisichella. So it's all happening. Now, are we going to see a Ferrari victory here at Imola? I think the last one was Patrick Tambay here in 1983, a long, long time ago. On the Tifosi. Oh, now, Schumacher's got to get past Marc Genet. Oh, and he's done it. A really hard, incisive bit of passing.
Oh, he's got to be pushing it now, but, I mean, it's getting tough. If David can really go a lot faster, he's just gone faster again by not enough. He's got to do really a half a second a lap quicker to get right on the tail of Michael, and then there's the problem of passing him.
Yeah, Eddie Irvine is with Louise Goodman.
Eddie, what put you out?
Just lost power, and then something seemed terminal. I was down a bit on power, and then all of a sudden it just let go. So
an engine failure.
Looks like.
You lost your championship lead.
Not yet.
No, he's absolutely right, because Michael Schumacher's still Eddie, ever the truthful pragmatist. He's absolutely right, because Michael Schumacher has still got 9 laps to go, including the one, 8 laps to go, including the one that he's on. But if Schumacher wins this race, he will take the World Championship lead from Eddie Irvine, and we will certainly have a Ferrari in the lead, Ferrari driver in the lead, and a Ferrari driver in 2nd place in the Drivers' World Championship. And Ferrari, of course, extending their lead in the Constructors' World Championship, with Schumacher ahead of Coulthard. But that's still got to happen. We're on lap 55. The crowd is agog. They're praying as hard as they can for their man to come home first in the Ferrari, as Coulthard nips in front of Marc Genet. But this should mean that Schumacher's lead has been increased, and it has, because Genet held Coulthard up more than he held Schumacher.
Right, I think if there's going to be the big finish, it's going to be between Hill and Barrichello. Hill's catching him quite consistently now. What is he, 2 seconds, 1.9 seconds behind him. So this could be interesting. Again, he's got to get past. Not going to be easy. But I think that's where the action's going to be.
Well, only one constructor has got both cars in a point-scoring position. It's Stewart with the new Ford engine. Enormous encouragement for Ford, who decided to put all their energies in Formula One behind the Stewart team to really concentrate on them. And those 2 drivers are Rubens Barrichello, who's 3rd, being caught by Damon Hill. There is Barrichello, there is Hill, and there is Schumacher. So you're seeing the 3rd, 4th and 1st men in the picture at the same time. Now this is going to give David Coulthard an opportunity to close up, because there's not all that much difference in time, lap time, between Damon Hill, who's lapping in about 1 minute 30.3, and Schumacher, who's lapping in 1 minute 30.1. And it would therefore need Damon Hill to move over and let Schumacher through.
And which I don't think will happen.
No, they're not. He's not his best friend.
No, he's not his best friend, and also he's trying to gain a place. Mind you, I think Michael's too quick. There he goes.
We're both wrong.
Yeah.
We're both wrong.
Yeah.
And Damon could have held him back there if he'd had a mind to. But he's done the sporting thing and moved over. Now, perhaps Michael will give him a bit of a tow up to Rubens Barrichello in the white Stewart. We're on lap 57. Louise Goodman is with Heinz Harald Frentzen.
Heinz Harald, there were some suggestions that you might have gone off on Eddie Irvine's oil. Was that the case?
Well, I don't think there's other reason that I spin off in the middle of the straight. And unfortunately, there's There was no marshal signing me any danger of oil or anything, and disappointing.
So an accident that you feel shouldn't have happened?
Well, I mean, accident happens in Formula 1. That's possible. No, unfortunately, I was going to have good points this race as well, and only the marshal wasn't quick enough today to react. That would have saved me some points.
Bad luck, Harold.
Come on, Heinz Harold, tell them what you really think. You know, being the gentleman as ever, lovely chap, but out of the race, and that's only one Jordan is going to finish, if provided Damon Hill does. There he is in the background. Lap 57, so 58, 59, 61 and 2 to go. Michael Schumacher is being caught again by David Coulthard, but David has got to get past Damon Hill. I'm sure Damon won't make it difficult. He'll know what the situation is. He'll recognise the McLaren. He'll know it's his friend David Coulthard. There he is. The gap is down to 4.7 seconds. It was a mighty close finish last year, but the positions were reversed. David Coulthard was leading Michael Schumacher. Schumacher was catching Coulthard, who'd got a bit of a problem. And the gap at the end of the race was just 5 seconds only between David Coulthard, who won it, and Michael Schumacher, who was in second place. Lap 58.
Jackie must be very happy if you think that his cars were leading the race in Brazil, and now they got both cars in the points. You don't have to think back very far to think how good he must be feeling.
No, and people don't realise and don't give credit for the fact that getting a Formula One team going at all is a mighty difficult job. Getting it up to race, podium and even winning speed is a terrific job. I know Jackie sold Ford on the concept of a 5-year plan. Well, he's up on the podium on the third year. Tremendous achievement. More news from Ferrari, James Allen.
Well, let's just put this strategy thing to bed once and for all. It caught us all by surprise, Michael Schumacher's second stop, but I've just had it confirmed from Ferrari. This was their original strategy. The idea was to run long on the first stop and then put in 2 lightish fuel loads to protect the brakes at the middle and the end of the race, but of course they made it look like they were on a one-stopper in the early stages. It was a flexible strategy designed to take in whatever Häkkinen and Coulthard might have done. But what was interesting about it was it demoralised both Coulthard and McLaren. When Schumacher got out in front after those first stops, the sort of shoulders dropped at McLaren, DC's shoulders too, no doubt, in the cockpit. It's been a fascinating strategic battle today.
I must agree. I was thinking exactly the same. He really what they did is demoralise David out there. Although I'm not sure he's having a little bit of handling problems, but still, I agree with you, absolutely.
He's now 4.4 seconds behind the car you're looking at, Michael Schumacher, but he's got Damon Hill in front of him and he's got Rubens Barrichello in front of him. And I just do not believe that, provided the Ferrari keeps going, and it's always a big provided in any race, but David Coulthard could get past Hill, catch Barrichello, get past him and catch Michael Schumacher, never mind get past the brilliant German. It's on lap 59 now. There's only 3 laps to go at the end of this one, each of them of 3.06 miles. So under 10 miles to go for Michael Schumacher for his first win of 1999. I must be very careful. That would be, there you see, there is Barrichello, third, Hill fourth, Coulthard in second position, race leader Michael Schumacher. But you see what I'm talking about when I talk about the sandwich. The sandwich is Barrichello and Hill, and the bread is Schumacher's Ferrari and David Coulthard's McLaren in the background. And Michael Schumacher is on his 60th lap. His people in the pit lane will be talking to him, telling him on the radio exactly what the situation is.
Yes, I think it's fairly safe as long as the cars finish without a problem. Well, it's certainly looking like Ferrari's going to win. I said it in the beginning for very much the wrong reasons, but still, Ferrari must be very happy winning in Italy if they can.
Well, they haven't, because out goes Johnny Herbert. The engine has let go. Bad luck indeed. Now let's hope that Rubens Barrichello can keep going. That means that Fisichella moves up into 5th position, and Alex Zanardi as Paul Stewart on the right, Jackie Stewart, his father, on the left. Look at the monitors. You can see what the problem is easily enough. Let's hope that he hasn't dropped any oil on the corner. Well, there's something...
I think he has, yes. Oh, it was pouring out the side of the radiator, some liquid there.
Well, they
looked more like water than oil.
Yeah, the flag marshals need to do a pretty nifty job. But meantime, David Coulthard is now... Michael Schumacher is on his 61st lap. This one and the next one. And there's still Barrichello. Hill, Coulthard, 4.3 seconds behind. It's not a question of time so much as the distance that David has got between him and Michael Schumacher left to try to get past Freeman Hill, and it looks to me as though there's absolutely no chance that he's going to do it. So we have a new 5th position driver in Giancarlo Fisichella. All the hard work that Benetton did overnight to try to make their car handle better has paid off in the end analysis, and a Sauber looks as though it's going to finish in 6th place, driven by Jean Alesi, the very popular French driver, and Alesi has yet to score points this year. In fact, he's yet to finish in a race this year, because he failed to finish in Australia, failed to finish in Brazil. Michael Schumacher dropping down to the Revezza from a speed of 180 miles an hour. Yeah, it's Zanardi in the Williams out of the race, and I suspect he went off on oil.
Yes.
Because he was going beautifully steadily, and I think it was Johnny Herbert's liquid that was dropped that I said the marshals need to get out quickly. But whatever, Zanardi is out of the race, and that means to say that Mika Salo comes up into... Alesi comes up into 6th position. Mika Salo looks as though he's going to finish just out of the points. But with just about half a lap to go before Italy erupts, Michael Schumacher looks as though he's coming home for his 34th Grand Prix victory, his first of the year, to rivet Ferrari's lead in the Constructors' Championship, to move up into 2nd equal position with Mika Häkkinen and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. So there will be 3 people in 2nd position in the Drivers' Championship, and only 2 points covering the top 4. What an absolutely fabulous sport as we go to Monaco for the around the houses race in the Principality in a fortnight's time on May the 16th. Look at the Ferrari banners going. And Mika Salo is out of the race. I can tell you he's being pushed down the pit lane as Michael Schumacher comes down to the Traguardo for the last time. Round turn 16, turn 17 to win the San Marino Grand Prix. Fist aloft, a gesture of victory. A wonderful win for Michael Schumacher and Ferrari, and the Ferrari team are justifiably absolutely euphoric. Well, it was not to be McLaren's race after all. Mika Häkkinen out very early. A brilliant strategy. I think that's what sewed it up for Schumacher with his skill and experience.
I mean, you look at it now to the first sort of quarter of the race when Mika was just dominating it, and you see what happens. The Ferraris must be very, very happy. You must say that Michael looks tough. He looks really tough to do the championship, although the McLarens were very, very fast at the beginning.
Well, there's no doubt about it. It's the conventional wisdom that he's the finest driver of his day. He's proved it today, not only by winning the race the way he has,